If your sleep sucks, you wake up groggy, your workouts feel harder than they should, you're craving sugar all day, and by 3 p.m., you feel useless. This episode is for you. Today, we're breaking down 5 real fixes to improve your sleep starting tonight. No tracking devices, no weird supplements, no 17-step bedtime routine. Just the 5 biggest levers we've used personally and with our clients to help people get better sleep finally and actually feel like a human being again. Because here's the deal. You can be training hard, eating clean, doing everything right. But if your sleep is garbage, you're leaving results on the table. In the next 30 minutes, we're going to show you why most people feel like they're just tired, but are actually in a chronic recovery deficit. The sneaky habits that are tanking your deep sleep, and you might be doing one of those tonight, and the simple upgrades that work, even if you're a parent working shifts or glued to a screen all day. Stick with us because this is not another fluffy, drink some tea and wear blue light glasses video. These are actionable, science-backed, and realistic tools you can plug into your routine starting tonight. Welcome back to the Fitness League, helping busy humans build strong bodies, sharper minds, and better lives. Join us each week as we cut through the noise, challenge the norms, and empower you to train smarter and live stronger. What was this episode inspired by, Joelle?
So shout out to our friend Jill Alessandra. She was originally who sent me this video. She is a past Levolution client and an app user of ours and friend. We had them over at our house a few weeks ago. Anyway, she had sent me this video and was like, want to hear your thoughts on this. And it was essentially a mom. I'm not going to play the video, but it was essentially a mom ranting about, hey, let's normalize not exercising. Let's normalize not taking care of yourself for 10 years. My kids, now they're such and such age and such, older, not older kids, but like over the age of 10. And she's like, the first 10 years of motherhood, like I didn't do anything. And like, I'm fine. I'm okay. And let's stop normalizing waking up and exercising when you have other things going on. Like, let's stop normalizing that moms have to do even more than they're already doing. Like, let's just normalize doing nothing for 10 years while your kids are young. And I was like, well, I couldn't even leave a comment. First of all, I'm not going to just like go on and troll someone, but I was like, I couldn't think of a post that I disagree with more than this one. Like,
Literally.
This has to be one of the most opposite things that I could feel on the internet.
And I feel like everybody listening probably aligns with us already, obviously, if you're listening to this podcast. But maybe there's a few of you who are hearing that and you're like, you know what? Yeah, let's normalize that. But
I'm like it is normalized.
That
it's
is
already normalized.
Absolutely.
We have a wildly unhealthy, depressed, overweight, miserable population of parents and moms. And like, we don't need to say, hey, let's normalize not taking care of ourselves. The vast majority of America is already doing that, or not doing that.
The irony of it, I would say, is that woman is probably our ideal client because she has no idea how to implement the little things that we talk about as a coaching company at Levolution. It's like, this is one of the people who thinks you have to do all of the things in order to see any benefit or to feel better. You just got to grind through it, struggle through it, sleep till you feel like sleeping. And there are nuances to everything, obviously. But the irony in that post and us using this as a trolling the internet type of episode is like, if you listen to the podcast, if you work with our team, if you use the app, we show you how to create bite-sized pieces for everything that just make your life a little bit better. So rather than, I'm not going to do anything, I'm not going to work out, I didn't work out once in 10, that's not a bragging right. I didn't work out once in 10 years. That's a decade. That's a decade of your life. All you focused on was sleep, and sleep is very important. That's one of the pillars. But if you're not focusing on moving, she's like, I don't meal prep, or you don't have to meal prep, but I don't focus on protein. These are little things that won't take any additional time if you do them the right way. If you have the right strategy, and it makes your life so much better. So rather than being angry and going on social media to rant about, oh, these darn fitness influencers trying to tell us to take care of ourselves, they have no idea. Well, we kind of do.
How dare they?
We got a whole bunch of kids. We run a couple businesses, and we take these bite-sized pieces ourselves. So they're all applied in practice.
2 things. Number one, I agree with you. Number one, I think this person views exercise solely as a way to change how you look, and like it's all about your outward appearance. She probably doesn't see the additional mental health benefits or any of the other benefits we know that exercise has. Like she's just exercising to change how she looks, which is where most people start with exercise, right? Like that's typically, a lot, I would say probably 99% of our clients' goals is to change their appearance somehow, whether it's gain muscle, lose body fat, whatever. That's the first thing. The second thing I find right now with social media, people are literally just posting to like build, I don't know if it's to like rage bait people, but to, what am I trying to say? Like
I
they
literally
want
wrote back to Jill, this is rage bait for me.
it's rage bait, but it's also,
They want something to relate to. Everyone's struggling,
Yes.
so
It's
it's an
like deep
excuse to not do anything.
relatability.
yes,
It's deep
yes.
relatability to a very niche audience.
I think it's like misery loves company is what I was trying to say. Like you want to connect with people in a way that makes you feel good about the thing you're trying. I don't know. It's like they're trying to make themselves feel better about this thing, and they know there's other people who likely feel the same way. So they're trying to rope all those people in while at the same time create such a contrast and like polarizing post that also spikes up their engagement because they know the other side is going to come in hitting hard like Joelle, but she didn't.
I think, yes, exactly to that point. I think she's probably posting for relatability and like knows other people can relate. And as you can imagine, because the vast majority of people are not taking care of themselves, like we sometimes forget we're in this like little bubble of like our algorithms are like fitness things and like people who exercise and like our clientele, like they're taking care of their health. And we sometimes forget that like that is not the vast majority of the population. And so as you can imagine, there are thousands of comments on this post being like, yes, someone finally said it. Like, let's not normalize exercise. And like, bruh, are we going to start normalizing cigarettes next? Like, yeah, go unhealthy. Woo. Let's be unwell. This is great. We have rising obesity levels, rising mortality rates, rising cancer levels, rising mental health crisis. Yeah, let's keep normalizing this. Like I rage bait when I tell you rage bait. There are not many things that rage bait me. That was pure rage. And I think, again, to your point, when you have the knowledge about the benefits of exercise, you simply cannot argue that not exercising is a health enhancing decision. It is not up for debate. And I think that's what also really bothered me about the post was we speak about exercise and making things work and something is better than nothing. Like we speak about that with so much context and nuance. And to come on and provide no nuance and no context and just be like, hey, I did nothing for 10 years and I would recommend you do nothing for 10 years too. That's insane.
And even outside of the health benefits of doing these things or the detriments of not doing these things, the patience that you have through taking care of yourself, the energy you're going to have through taking care of yourself to go do things with your kids. It is laughable to utilize that as an excuse to not be literally taking care of yourself, doing anything. She was just riffing off the nutrition, the movement, the training. Doesn't matter. Just sleep and be with your kids. It's a little more to it than that, especially over the course of 10 years.
And listen, I understand that, and we've talked about this. We talk about this all the time, Joelle, is, every postpartum mom's experience is different. Everybody has different support systems, different lifestyles, different jobs, different number of children. Like your life looks completely different than the person next to you. We can see that and we talk about that. But at the same time, even if you're in a position where you are struggling and you have no support at home and your mental health is really just not there and it feels like all you can do is sleep when the baby sleeps and that's it, that's even more of a reason to prioritize some type of movement. Even if you go outside for a 10-minute walk, or even if you focus on just trying to get in protein at the meals that you are eating right now, like tiny little baby steps. That is going to help you just feel better overall. Instead of being stuck in this low place, struggling with your mental health, struggling with your physical health for 10 years. 10 years is a long time to be not prioritizing your health. That is, you're literally coming on here and telling people the opposite of what they should be hearing, but you're basically just, I don't want to sound too harsh, but like, death is a real thing. And if you're not taking care of your body for 10 years just because someone on the internet said it's okay and that we can normalize this, you're putting yourself in such a worse position for when your kids are actually old enough to do cool things with you and to actually, go out and be part of their lives and go to their sporting events and just whatever you want to do with your children and your family. You want to be there for it. You want to feel good for it. You want to, live life to the fullest. And if you're not exercising and if you're not taking care of your health, that's not going to happen.
I also just want to add, and Josh, we can also, I know you want to pivot into some of these action steps, and we can probably pivot well into some sleep fixes here in a moment. The only other thing that I want to point out specifically about that video to tie back in is one thing she did mention was, the first 10 years I did nothing. You shouldn't worry about it, especially, she said, if your kids are not sleeping through the night. And I want to come back to that for a minute because I think it's an important part of the conversation, and it's the one of the pieces of nuance that we can chat about here. Yes, it is true in a sense that the mom who's sleeping through the night is probably going to have a better mental health baseline off the bat than the mom who's waking up 5 to 10 times per night. There are also other pieces of that. Josh, on the last episode, you and I talked about how for the person who is sedentary, and research actually shows that we'd rather someone sacrifice 1 hour of sleep for that exercise session, because that exercise session would likely outweigh the benefits of that extra hour of sleep if they're currently sedentary. And again, we're not here to preach like sleep debt and being chronically under recovered and underslept. Like, it's not about that. But if, let's say you are up a lot during the night. Okay, maybe you're not going to work out at 5 a.m. Can you find a different time to work out? Can you work out when they're napping? Can you work out when they're at school? Can you work out after school? Can you work out when you have childcare? Can you work out when they're home? Can you work out in your home? Can you work out with your kids present? Can you work out only on the weekends when you have another support person or another spouse there, and now you're doing 2 days a week because you at least can get a workout in on Saturday, Sunday? If you have an answer to all of those, the time is not the problem. If no matter what a quote fitness influencer suggests about, you could do it in the morning when they're sleeping, you could do it when they're napping, you could do it after they go to bed, you could do it only on the weekends, you could do it only twice a week, you could do it for 10 minutes, you could run up and down your stairs, you could do it while your baby's awake, you could do it in your house with a set of resistance bands. If none of those work, and you have a reason that none of those are possible, I just find it hard to believe that all of those are problematic. Don't hate me.
Nobody's hating. All of that said, and we started this little trend last week. We are utilizing at least a chunk of these next few episodes going forward to giving you these micro topics. These tiny little things that you can create actionable steps on immediately starting tonight. We alluded to it in the intro. That's what we're going to be doing. Last week, we broke it down into 4 simple segments, optimizing fitness. Today, we're going to be diving into sleep. Take these as you see fit them into your life when you can. Go one at a time. If you want to listen to a few because you got a little more to play with, then do those things. But that is the entire purpose of what we're going to be doing going forward. So it's a nice transition point. So let's start diving into why sleep matters. I think it's a good topic to slide right into since she wanted to talk about sleep. We agree. Sleep is super important. There are some things that she's probably not doing to optimize it. And let's talk about what some of those things are. But just diving into the importance of sleep, because sleep is the foundation. She did get that one part right. It is one of the most critical aspects of our health. The data backs that up. The impact on recovery, metabolism, hormone regulation, even supporting fat loss, muscle growth, blood sugar, stress resilience, combating brain fog, constant cravings, midday crashes, slower recovery, just to rifle off a few. But let's talk about it for a minute in regards to what sleep is actually doing to our bodies, to our minds, to our overall health.
Look, one of the reasons that moms are so at risk for perinatal mood disorders, so think postpartum anxiety, postpartum depression, PMADS, one of the reasons that moms are so at risk for that is because of the sleep deprivation. There are direct correlations between how much sleep a postpartum mom is getting and what their mental health looks like. And I think of Dr. Nicole, who comes on to our Levolution maternal mental health calls that we do monthly. And anytime a postpartum mom is there who's struggling, and these calls get like really intimate and someone is always crying, and we love it because it's just always a really sweet, nice group. Whenever there's a postpartum mom there who is crying and or struggling, first thing Nicole asks every single time, how are you sleeping? How much sleep are you getting? How many times per night are you getting up with baby? Because so much of mental health is correlated to how much sleep we're getting. So that for me is a huge, huge take home point in terms of the importance of sleep, among many other reasons.
I mean, just think about it, whether you're a parent or not. Think about a night that you've gotten crappy sleep and you wake up the next day, and just think about what decisions you're making. Like, what are the little decisions that you make throughout the day because of how tired you are? I guarantee, you're likely not eating as normally as you would be. Like, you're more likely to make poor decisions with food. Maybe you slept in, maybe your whole routine is thrown off. Maybe you don't even have a routine because you don't have a consistent sleep schedule. But when you have a crappy night of sleep, like for me at this stage of my life, and like I think back pre-kids, because we did prioritize sleep pre-kids too. We were very much into fitness and very much focusing on, having great body composition and powerlifting and all the things. So sleep was important. It just looked a lot different than it does now. But I think back to, thinking back to then and comparing it to now, I just felt terrible. Like you're more likely to have arguments with the people around you. You're more likely to snap. You have less patience. Like every decision that I make throughout the day is dependent on that sleep. And it sounds crazy maybe to some of you, but that is why we are so strict with our kids, and that is why we are so strict with ourselves when it comes to having consistent sleep routines and getting enough sleep throughout the night, even with little kids right now.
To speak to the piece about hunger, like what types of small decisions, I think a lot of times people don't realize how much sleep is the foundation that's then affecting all of those other decisions. Like, okay, we didn't get enough sleep. Now our kids ask us to play. We're saying no, or we're shorter with our kids, or we're shorter with our spouse. Also, if we don't get enough sleep, there are physiological things happening, like we have an increase in ghrelin, which is our hunger hormone, and a decrease in leptin, which is our satiety hormone. And so we're more likely to snack, we're hungrier, we're less satisfied by what we're eating. What types of choices are we then going to make when those physiological changes are happening because of that sleep debt? So it's more than just like the mental health or how we respond to our kids. And that's obviously a huge piece of it, but it's like how we're eating, what our energy levels are going to be like. Are we going to go take that family walk if we feel like crap and we didn't get enough sleep? Are we going to make the best decisions around food? Are we going to go get that exercise session in? Are we going to want to connect with our spouse or our kids and things like that? There's such a ripple effect that starts with sleep.
All right, so we want to give you guys some actionable. That was a good start. All right, giving you guys some actionable steps to take away with you to start tonight so that you can start getting better sleep. These are free. These are very simple, but not easy, right, Joelle? So,
yes.
Obviously, you guys likely know a lot of the things what you should be doing, but it's about being consistent with them. It's about starting small. So maybe even just start with 1 or 2 of these and slowly work your way through the list. But we got our 5-step sleep fix framework here. Fix number one is to lock in your light. So a few tips here: natural light first thing in the morning, even just 5 to 10 minutes outside within an hour of waking is going to help set your circadian rhythm and just kind of help you wake up naturally. If you cannot do this, whether it's, we have short days right now, it's super dark in the morning and maybe you're going to work already, or maybe you wake up and it's already light out. Like whenever you're up and the sun is somewhat coming up, try to get outside, even if it's just for a few minutes, or whenever you can at some point in the morning. You don't have to be down to the minute with this. Like, this is a prime example of making it fit your lifestyle. Also, blocking blue light. So 1 to 2 hours before bed, if you can wear blue light blocking glasses or just not be on screens, whether it's TV, your phone, a tablet, like do your best to limit those things before bed. But if you need to be on them, try to throw on some blue light blocking glasses. That will help. And then you can also dim your house lights or use lamps if you have them. I recently purchased like the battery powered lamp, so I have one in our bathroom. We have the red light bulbs in our room, so we'll kind of flip those on at night instead of using the overhead regular lights that we have, and it just it makes it super cozy, but also helps your sleep too. So those would be the top 3 things to fix with your light. On to number 2, Joelle.
Okay. Number 2 is caffeine. Cutting caffeine, at the right time. So the half-life of caffeine, did I say caffeine or creatine? Now
you said caffeine.
Okay. We can keep creatine in, but we want to cut caffeine at the right time. So the half-life of caffeine is around 6 hours. So that means 6 hours after you've had your last cup of coffee, half that amount of caffeine is still running through your bloodstream. So that's why you might hear the suggestion, don't have caffeine after 12 to 2 p.m., usually the latest, because you want that caffeine really gone from your system by time you're winding down for bed. So potentially instead of that afternoon cup of coffee, maybe you are having some electrolytes, or maybe you're taking an afternoon walk, doing some breath work. Josh, we know, loves the cold water, cold immersion, cold splash, cold whatever. Maybe at this point, that's just a walk outside because it's freezing here. But a cold water splash to the face. Probably not taking a cold shower mid-afternoon, but maybe a cold splash at night or in the late afternoon. But ultimately really trying to avoid caffeine. And the other caveat that I will give with that is if you are someone who loves a little bubbly drink like a Diet Coke or Coke Zero or whatever, unless you are buying a caffeine-free version, those have caffeine. And I have seen some people screw their sleep by doing Diet Coke with dinner. And I know it's not a lot of caffeine, but 30 milligrams an hour before you're going to go to bed, 2 hours before you're going to go to bed, not great. So if you are someone who likes a bubbly drink at nighttime, make sure you're getting a caffeine-free version as well.
That's a great point. I know so many. I don't know why Diet Coke has been everywhere on my feed. It's having a moment or something.
Having a moment.
I don't know what's going on. So yeah, that's a great tip. Fix number 3 is to drop the temperature. Optimal sleep temp is somewhere between 60 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. I know, Joelle, you guys like it icy cold in your house.
Icy cold.
We're not quite that cold, but 67 is my sweet spot. But now that it's getting colder out, we just we've been trying to, not let the heat kick on at every moment. Yeah. So I do sleep so much better when it's cold. And if you need to, throw a fan on. There's cooling mattress pads. I saw an ice blanket or something it was called. I forget the actual brand. It came up on my Instagram last night and I was like, what the heck is this? But it was meant to keep you cold. Yeah.
Yeah.
They have so many things now. So whatever you can do to keep yourself cool, even a hot shower before bed can induce the cool down effect. So it can kind of help trigger your body to cool down a little bit more. So just a few things you can do there, but keeping a cool temperature in your room is definitely going to help.
Funny side note, your room in my house is the coldest room in our house.
My room.
That room gets
that
so
is a
cold.
The air just blows at you.
But
Which is
now
nice.
that it's cold out, like now the AC is not on, but now that it's cold out, because that room has windows on both sides of the house, so like it's a corner room and there's
Yeah.
windows on one side and then windows on the other, that room gets so just free. It's freezing in there right now. I just keep that
Oh,
door
wow.
shut. Um, Part two, side note, is I now call that your room. I can't remember which of my children it was.
Probably
I,
Sloan,
I
I feel like.
probably Sloan. Probably Sloan. I actually don't know. It might have been Reese. Something that I said, something was in the guest room and go get it from the guest room. And they were like, the guest room? I'm like, no, the guest room. And one of them said, Alessandra's room? And I was like, yes, it's in Alessandra's room. Go get it from Alessandra's room.
That's
So that room is just
hilarious.
you guys have probably
We've
slept in it
been
more
there
than
the
any
most.
other guest in our house. Like
Yeah.
we've had people sleep here, but you guys have probably slept here the most. And so it is just Josh and Alessandra's
Just
room
my
now, which I
room.
think is
Yeah.
so funny.
That's hilarious. I love them.
So you have your own guest room in our house.
I love it.
Yeah. Next off, number 4 is kind of auditing your wind down routine. So, like any habit, it kind of feels a little funny at first, a little out of sorts at first, but when we can start to create a routine that our body associates this wind down time with, words have been very hard today. It's kind of this cue to help your brain start shutting down. So if I think about even like our babies, like when we want them to get ready for bed, we're like dimming the lights, we're reading a bedtime story, we're getting on PJs, we're brushing teeth. There's like all of these cues that are happening that are helping to prime them for bedtime. And we don't always do that with ourselves. Hopefully we're like brushing our teeth before bed, but if we can add a few more layers to that, like winding down the lights, reading a book before bed, maybe you're journaling before bed, other cues that are just helping to calm things down. Maybe it's reading, maybe it's taking your nighttime supplements, avoiding screens an hour or so before bed, anything else that can kind of cue that relaxation and that wind down routine can really help set you up for a more relaxed night of sleep. And you might find that you like fall asleep quicker when you're not just like wired and then climbing into bed.
Remember when I was pregnant and posted my wind down routine and the internet like lost it?
Oh my God, people lost it. Remember
What did they say? They were
it
like,
was first of all, it was the earplugs that people lost it over.
yes, it was the
You're not going to
earplugs.
be able to use those earplugs once you have that baby. And you're like,
Yeah,
great,
just
thanks. I
wait
have
till you
2 other
have
kids.
kids. Yeah,
Yeah. So cute that you're
hilarious.
pregnant and like you don't even know what's coming. And you're like, I literally have 2 other children.
That was
What a
funny.
time.
Yep. Anyway, routines are important. I'd say that one's probably the, like, in my opinion, out of these 5, like the most crucial one, but also the
Yeah.
hardest one for a lot of people. Because, I mean, we understand, like, you get to the end of the day, you put the kids to bed, you just want to, like, be a potato on the couch and scroll
Yep.
your phone or watch a show. And it's hard to
Yep.
start other things. But I have faith in you guys. You
Yeah.
can do it. Fix number 5 is to keep a consistent sleep and wake time. Also, another crucial but very hard one to do because weekends matter here too. It's not just weekdays. So if you can narrow down your sleep and wake time to be like within an hour of each other, maybe. So maybe you sleep in the extra hour on the weekends if you want, but like
Yep.
if you can keep it consistent, it's going to make such a difference. And this again just helps your circadian rhythm. It helps getting enough REM sleep, deep sleep, the whole cycle. So you have to, it's one of those things that it really does, consistency really does matter here. And inconsistency can just make you feel worse because, like, if you're really good throughout the week, Monday to Friday, obviously most of us have jobs and careers we have to show up for. So we have to be timely. And then weekends, you just, stay up super late, 5 hours later, and you're sleeping in 3 hours later. Like, that's going to throw you off. You're going to feel like you have jet lag because you're so thrown off. So the more consistent you can keep that throughout the entire week, the better.
Yeah, I agree. The research on that is pretty clear that sleep consistency is even more important than the duration and the quality. Like those are obviously both important, but plus or minus an hour, they say should be pretty much as far as that window gets in terms of consistency. Possible bonus section here about helping with sleep supplements potentially. Granted, I would not look toward a sleep supplement without addressing the other things that we mentioned here. You are not going to like melatonin your way out of all of these other things, like out of having a nighttime routine, out of getting in bed early enough, out of having some type of wind down, out of having your room temperature at a decent temperature. Like you're not going to really supplement your way out of that. Keep in mind, supplements are meant to supplement the things that you are already doing, not to replace the things that you are not doing. So supplements that could potentially be helpful: magnesium, possibly melatonin, glycine. I like L-theanine before bed as well for just kind of like de-stressing. I really, really have come to like Legion's lunar supplement. That I find is a decent one. And sometimes I convince myself that it's not doing anything. And then I go a night or two without it. And I'm like, oh, no, it was definitely helping.
I can't wait to try it.
I do like that one. Yeah. When you're done breastfeeding.
Yeah.
That'll be a good one. There's a new flavor of it coming. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but
that'll be my reward.
Yeah. Botox and lunar
sleep supplements. What a life.
Yeah. And then the other bonus that we can give here is, and I know Josh is all about this, but we're having tech issues here, not having largely heavy meals right before bed, giving yourself a little bit of a buffer of your last meal before you go to bed. So avoiding those heavy, high calorie meals prior to bedtime, and also alcohol. Everyone likes to think like, oh, I sleep so good after like a night of drinking. And no, you don't. No, you don't.
Harsh reality, but it's true.
Yeah.
All right, you guys.
Alcohol,
well,
thanks for sleep.
Hopefully you took away some tips that you can start implementing tonight. We want everybody to be crushing their sleep. It's super important. And, you know, whether you're in a season of newborn life or your kids are older or whatever it may be for your current reality, or you don't have kids at all and you just have a crazy job, work life, do what you can. Focus on the things that you have control over. And, you know, instead of just saying, oh, well, I'm in the newborn stage, I'm not going to focus on anything. There are still a lot of things that you can focus on. So take away what you can today. And we're going to wrap up this conversation with the reminder that change doesn't come in one big moment. It's built in the ways you keep showing up. Take what you learned today and build the best version of yourself for tomorrow. Where can they find you?
At Joelle Samantha.
I'm at Alessandra Skutnik, and Josh is at Josh Skutnik, very angrily next to me because our tech issues are not working today, but he will be back in the next episode, and we will catch you guys there.